Hey everyone, this is Rachel, and today I'm here with a new scrapbooking process video. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you enjoy. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome, and I would love it if you would become a subscriber. You can also click on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video up. Alright folks, let's get going! Hey everyone, welcome to another process video. Today I'm going to be doing a double page layout. This is a thing we did back in 2015. We took a trip into New York City and we went to the Tenement Museum, which is in the Lower East Side of New York City. I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you're looking to go to New York City and it's not your one and only trip that you're ever going to do to New York City, that you go to the Tenement Museum. It is incredible. We did two different tours. We did an indoor tour and then a neighborhood walk, and it was just an absolutely fabulous time. This is a layout I've been putting off because I have 11 photos, and also because of the subject, I didn't necessarily want to do a lot of embellishing and a lot of colorfulness. So I have a couple of 3x4 project lifestyle cards. I've got some twine. I have some enamel dots. I have just a few black and white stickers. And then, so my entire palette is going to be black and white and gray. I think for the most part, obviously my photos are in color, but it worked out well because I actually have a challenge to work on a layout that has that color palette. So I've also pulled several, mainly black, but one white alphas to do my title. I'm going to go ahead and get you guys put on fast forward. Before I do, if you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. All right, everyone, let's get going. Okay, before I forget to mention, this is actually Carta Bella's Welcome Home or Home collection. Basically, it's if Joanna Gaines made a scrapbook collection, this would be that collection. Now, I didn't have any need for a farmhouse themed collection, so I actually just bought two pieces of paper that were black and white, and I just really liked the look of them. They actually, what they have on there is script from what would be a diary. So it did work out in the sense that, in this time, letter writing was very prevalent and stuff like that. So I thought it worked out well, even though obviously it was not farmhouse themed, nor was it house decorating themed, which is why I didn't get any of the embellishments. I just picked up two pieces of paper that I thought were pretty, because I'm addicted to pretty paper, as are we all, I would assume. So what I did was I went and I tore this cream and black striped paper, and I'm going to run that along the entire top of my double page layout. So I made sure to line them up so that where it joins from the left side to the right side does match up. I mean, is it an actual 100% absolute? No, it's not. Do I care? No, I do not. All right, so then what I did is I went ahead and I did a control tear against a ruler, because while I wanted that striped piece to be more organic and natural, I wanted the piece below it to have more of a structure. So if you want to try tearing, but you're a little too afraid of what will happen naturally, tearing against a ruler is a really good way to go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to take the other piece of this paper, which is the black and white diary type piece of paper, and I just split that in half at a 6x12, and I'm going to run that along the entire bottom half of my layout. So it's going to end up matting those 4 3x4 vertical photos I have going over on the right hand side of the page. Now I was a little bit off on my where my camera is, just by a little bit, but you really don't miss anything all the way over on the right hand side. Now I wanted to see if I could mat that with a lighter piece of paper, but I didn't have enough that was larger than 4 inches, and to be honest, I didn't care that much that I was willing to go up. I don't happen to have any cream cardstock, and I didn't want to add white because it would have been so stark against the rest of the cream colored things. And here you'll notice I just put the wrong side down on the glue. Luckily, HEG, if you catch it, you can roll it off real quick. But I did glue it down on the incorrect side because ended up doing was the stripe on the stripe, because I'm a genius. So I'm going ahead and lining up both sides of that stripe paper and then tucking that cream on black, no, sorry, black on cream diary paper. And I'm rolling off the ATG that isn't covered by that piece, and then I'm going to go ahead and lay that down as well. I really love the way this turned out. As I said in the introduction, I definitely wanted to have a more somber feel to this. Not that I didn't have fun and I didn't enjoy it, and you can't have a good time when you're doing stuff like this, but the subject was on the more serious side, so I definitely wanted to keep the tone of the layout a more serious one. Keep the color palette very simple with black, cream, and gray, and keep the embellishments to a minimum, and also just keep the focus on the photos. So if you, as I said in the introduction, if you ever have the chance to visit the Tenement Museum, I cannot recommend it high enough. It was stunning to see. It was very interesting. It's very interesting looking at the immigrant situation of the early 20th century versus today. It's a very, historically important time period, and the place being the Lower East Side of New York with all of the immigrants that came through, whether it be Ellis Island or the other, was it Angel Island? I'm not 100% sure if that's correct or not. So for me, it was just really important to get the importance of this as part of my scrapbooking layout. So what's really interesting is it's still an immigrant area, but the difference is the immigrants that are there now. So you see a lot of Jewish architecture and Russian architecture, but there are Chinese flags, and there are Asian signs, and there are different artwork that is of the Asian culture that currently has a lot of people living in that area. With this, like, as you can see, like the photos over on the right hand side that I'm placing right now, that's a Russian church, a Russian Orthodox church, but right next to it you'll see Buddhist temple, and it's just really, really fascinating and just a really interesting area of New York. So I layered that Today Project Lifestyle card underneath the 3x4 photo at the top as I'm gluing down the rest of my photos, and so that you can see in a couple of pictures we received those fans, and OMG, it was so hot. This was actually the 4th of July weekend in 2015, and it was so hot. It was so steamy and hot. We were so thankful for those fans because we were walking outside in the neighborhood, and my goodness, it was hot. Oh my goodness, it was so warm that particular weekend. It was just the only weekend we could go. As I mentioned, my nephew was doing a school project. Actually, his project was he had to do something about comparing and contrasting immigration today versus immigration of the early 20th century, which is why I said this was the perfect trip to take to help him out with his project. He did really well in it also, that not that it matters 5 years later. But, important, like, throwaway fact, that's what I'm looking for. So I've got my photos down pretty much. I'm going to layer the journaling that I did over that 4x6 photo of, it's actually what it is, it's graffiti of a dragon, but there were some random people in it, so I just kind of put them over the random people because, not important to the layout. So here's where I am having an issue. I couldn't think of a good title. I could have just done Tenement Museum, but I've got that written several times on the layout due to the fan. So while I'm still thinking about a title, and I'd pulled all those black and white alphas, and they weren't going to work, I decided to do something. I saw another woman who was on the scrapbooking store design team that I was on for a while. A lot of times what she would do is she would run a line of glue and then layer over it a piece of twine. And I loved that look, and I thought it would work perfectly here as a simple embellishment that had a strong visual clue. It also helped tie together that black and cream piece of paper with the black cardstock. So I'm running my liquid glue, the art glitter clear glue, and then I am taping it to the back of it with some washi tape. And I really love the way that turned out. I thought it was a great addition. Not something I normally do, but it worked out really, really well in this case. So I'm going back to my title. I'm still having trouble. I'm having trouble. All of the ones I pulled out, they're too big. They're too monochromatic in the wrong sense. The black isn't going to work out. So then I think, well, what if I do it over on this photo? And then I think, well, what if I do LES for Lower East Side? But then I'm like, no, that looks dumb. So I actually ended up pausing on the layout, putting it away for the day, and coming back to it the next day. This is still the same day. I'm going to cut ahead in just a second. So then I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll just do Tenement Museum. I didn't really want to do that, but that's when I put it away. I come back the next day, and I pull out these smaller gray stickers from Simple Stories Snap, and literally, and I'm not even joking about this, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, oh, a walk through history, or a walk in history, or something along those lines would be a better title. Now, I started off with these light gray ones, but they were too light. So I switched over to these LE Studios alphas instead in black, because since I decided to do it over the photo, I no longer needed it to be a lighter color. So I finished off the title with the word history in those dark gray ones, and those are actually from Hip Kit that I got in a grab bag. So my title is now A Walk Through History, and I'm so much happier with that than the original either 10 Museum or NYC Day or anything like that, because this really was just a walk through history. And like I said, if you get a chance to go, you should absolutely do it. So I've got those black and white stickers, and I believe those are from Vicky Booten. And then I'm pulling out some enamel dots in white, black, and gray. And that is going to complete today's layout. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And bye, everyone.